but has since expanded. And in the past couple of years, we've started including creative works. This year, over 150 participants presented posters or creative works or research papers in the afternoon sessions. The aim of this conference is to allow students to gain valuable presentation skills and get feedback from an interdisciplinary group of faculty on their work. Although everybody will not win tonight, you all did an amazing job. So congratulations. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. I'm so nervous. I don't know how you do this all the time. So after the keynote speakers, the awards will be presented. Our keynote speakers this evening are Dr. Elizabeth Lynch and Dr. Elizabeth Stewart. They will be introduced. So because there are so many people here, I'm going to go through and dismiss the rows of tables. So if you'll just give me about 10 minutes to get everybody dismissed to eat, we'll start eating shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we have to go ahead.
Question for you. The mics are already on, right?
Yes.
Just want to make sure I didn't have to answer. Our table over there. If somebody plays a 5, that's the last table. If somebody plays a 7, if somebody plays a 7, oh, it's crazy. Somebody plays a 7, they switch their hand to somebody else. And if somebody plays a 10, whatever direction you're going, we all have support. And then you can also put stuff in. Or somebody plays, if somebody plays like green. And then it becomes a You did a fantastic job. You did wonderful. I saw them. I looked in the office and I saw a bunch of basketballs. And I'm like,
Okay, never mind. I love when they do these little napkins. Now I need to be a doctor. Is it your doctor revenue? Because they stack. So the long time I get a doctor, so I take my doctor.
All right, I think everyone has their food now, so let's get started. I'm Caitlin Robinson. I did a lot of the coordination for the judges for the SRCC committee. And now I'm here to introduce two people who came in with me almost 2 years ago. We have Dr. Elizabeth Lynch, who's Assistant Professor of Anthropology and Archaeology here at ENMU. She specializes in 3D modeling of ancient stone tools. And as a Fulbright Scholar in 2023 and 2024, she worked on the in the Bahamas on an interdisciplinary research team on hurricane recovery, hydrology, forest recovery, and community engaged science, which is going to be part of their talk tonight. Dr. Stewart is Assistant Professor of Secondary Education at ENMU with interests in community engaged scholarship and partnering with local schools. She graduated from Texas Tech, where her dissertation involved research on long-term community engaged scholarship projects. And Dr. Lynch was from the University of Wyoming and also went to New Mexico State.
Go Aggies.
All right, with that, I'll let them get started.
Okay. All righty. So we would like to start off this evening with an introduction from one of our students as part of, we would like to get started this evening with an introduction from one of our students. It's a video that was made after the end of our University of the Bahamas Biology 390 Field Studies class. So turn that puppy on.
We would like to make the disclaimer, we are very sorry for whatever commercial is going to pop up on YouTube first, just in case.
Just so know.
Where's the where's the mouse? There it is.
There you go. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, so this is actually not a vacation, it's a school trip. Let's get into the details. From ever since I could remember, I've been the type of person that never liked to venture outside my comfort zone. However, this summer I had the opportunity to participate in a project to evaluate community perspectives and forest recovery on Grand Bahama after Hurricane Dorian. This project was a part of our biology 390 field studies class at the University of the Bahamas. We started off our first day by visiting UB's field station, also known as the Old Northern Campus, which got devastated by Hurricane Dorian. Then, the very next day, we started off very bright and very early at 4 a.m. just to start our field day to get an idea of what we're supposed to do in the field and understand the techniques that we're supposed to be using. What we did was survey plants and identify plants using Epicolab 5. We also took soil samples that will later be analyzed in the lab to just get an idea of how the forest is coming along. Here you can see me hacking my life away at the soil, just trying to collect samples because the terrain was very rocky. We also had the opportunity to plant about 1,000 mangroves, which was very fun and also very scary. All the fieldwork we did lasted about 3 or 4 days, but that didn't stop there because we still had classes to do, we still had work to do during this class, even though it was very tiring and exhausting.
How's your trip going?
Okay, so the trip is going amazing. I give it like a 9 out of 10.
One of the things I cherish most about this trip is the bond that I created with my classmates. It was so amazing to just socialize and have so much fun with them. And we always showed our school pride whenever we had the chance. At times in between classes or socialization events, we take the time to just sightsee around Grand Bahama and look at the beauty that the island has to offer. Although many of us wanted to believe that we were on vacation with the many fun things and beautiful scenery that we were enjoying, we still had to remember that we were in a field house. So it means cooking our own meals most nights, but it was so fun to just cook with our classmates, and this was our rookie night, where we invited the American students over and we had such a fun time. We even cooked on our last day and cleaned up the entire house before we had to check out the next day and head to the airport. So sad. Honestly, we all wanted to stay for 1 more week because we had such a great time.
Hi guys, my name is Kaya, so I'm just here to report on the Biology 390 Field Studies class. It was an amazing experience. We gained a lot of knowledge and skills that will help us in field research on everyone pursue careers in field studies and Bahama. We could do that because it was such a great experience. I give it a 10 out of 10. The plants we used, learning about how to identify certain plants, I found very beneficial to my knowledge. Also with soil sampling and collection, it was great. Anyway, I guess one challenge I had probably long hours dog. But otherwise, it was good. People were on and people had a great time, great experience. And I would recommend to everybody to take this class and definitely start with great.
Thank you to everyone who made this class so great, and this will always be a memory that I cherish. I love all of you guys and I appreciate you so much.
There's the mouse.
So, truth be told, number one, they only did the Mingo's chant once. That's when they arrived. They didn't do it again until they were leaving because it was a lot of work and they were tired. And they were crying pretty much because they did love all of the work that they were doing at the end. So it's a multidisciplinary project. And now we're going to be a little bit more formal because it's a little bit more formal of an event. So good evening to everybody, and we really want to thank you all for inviting us here to talk to you about our global research projects and experiences. Although Dr. Stewart and I are from different disciplines completely, we've been collaborating on this project in the Bahamian archipelago. Mainly it's a response to events that have occurred since Hurricane Dorian. So you're going to see everything really revolves around Hurricane Dorian. This research has been funded by several U.S. institutions and international funding agencies, as well as universities that we've worked for. Our main objective is to share our insights and encourage you to expand your ideas and delve into research experiences that are beyond the veil of whatever discipline you're currently in. We have a number of topics to cover this evening, but we'd like to start by introducing ourselves and telling you how we came to work with this project. We believe that it's through our individual stories that you're going to gain the most insight into how beneficial these kinds of projects can be. There's a lot of terms that are going to be bantered around tonight, and you may have heard them throughout the day as well. Scholarly silo, what's that? Multidisciplinary, do I really know what that is? And we want you to understand how we are using those terms. So we're going to do a little bit of an introduction. We also want to spend some time explaining to you the nature of this global research project and all of our international collaborations. And they've developed organically throughout the years. So this might be a little bit of an organic process, but there is a golden thread weaved through all of our experience. At the end of this, Dr. Stewart's going to give you guys some take-home messages, as well as some thoughts about her experiences with this project. So again, my name's Elizabeth Lynch. I'm an anthropological archaeologist here at Eastern New Mexico. Means I use all of the 4 subfields in anthropology to answer questions about human lifeways throughout deep time. I mainly work in southeastern Colorado, so the Bahamas is a long way from home. But when I was doing my graduate studies at New Mexico State, I met my roommate and long-term friend, Claire Bowen O'Connor. She's from Trinidad and Tobago, and she's an international scholar. Dr. Bowen and I became really good friends. We spent long hours talking about our individual research projects, our committee chairs, and you know all those other things graduate students talk about. Although I really didn't understand the nature of all of her genetic manipulation of maples in northern New Mexico, the science was fascinating to me. And she fell in love with archaeology. I don't know why. But skipping ahead a little bit, I was working on my PhD in Wyoming, and Dr. Bowen and O'Connor and I had dropped out of touch. We got back to talking, and we discovered that we had this love of teaching, this love of fieldwork, and this love of 3D modeling. And so we started collaborating, and we developed these collaborative teaching experiences for our students in the Bahamas, at the University of West Indies, and then also at the University of Wyoming. And so we were doing these collaborative classroom events when Dorian hit in September of 2019. We're actually on the phone, and Claire says, I got to get off the phone because the electricity is cutting in and out. Dorian is here. And I was like, how bad is it? And she said, well, my students are concerned about their families. Some of my students are actually on Grand Bahama in Freeport as we speak, and the devastation suddenly became very real. We knew it was a bad storm, but I'd never been through a hurricane that was a Cat 5, and I'd never had anybody that I know in a Cat 5 storm. Suddenly it was real. Suddenly we had to do something. So Claire, Dr. Bowen, immediately started to mobilize resources. And very soon relief efforts began to take place in Freeport as soon as it was safe to do so. But there was complete devastation to the pine and mangrove forests on certain parts of the island, and the freshwater lens was severely threatened because of the inundation. Dr. Bowen was part of the teams that were sent in to actually look at what was going on with these processes and to help them recover. And she very quickly said, listen, we're only going to be able to do sustainable long-term research if you guys have an anthropologist on board. Well, they only knew one anthropologist, and that was me. So guess where I headed? I headed back down to the Bahamas to work with this group of scholars. Within a year, we had students on the ground in the classrooms. The original hydrology people had students on the ground as well. The idea here being that students are an integral part of our research experiences, and they need to be incorporated very early on in research projects. So this is the journey that we're going to take you on this evening, and I'm going to let Dr. Stewart talk to you a little bit.
Alrighty. All right. Well, hi again, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. We really do appreciate it. Both Dr. Lynch and I are second-year assistant professors here at Eastern New Mexico, which means that last year we were fortunate enough to take part in what's known as the new faculty investment program. And what we've learned talking with other colleagues across the country, this is really unique to this school because we're given plenty of guidance in research and advising and in service and in teaching. So thank you guys again for that. That was a huge help. We appreciate it. And so Dr. Lynch and I, along with several other assistant professors, we not only just hung out on one Saturday a month, but we formed our own writing group, and then we all became pretty good friends. So when Dr. Lynch last spring was talking about an opportunity to join her on Grand Bahama last summer, I immediately jumped at the opportunity. I promise it wasn't just because I wanted to go to the beach every day. Okay, I know my social media says otherwise if you guys are friends with me on Facebook with all the pictures I put up last summer. I get it. However, I wanted to work and I wanted to learn. This was the opportunity of a lifetime for me and I couldn't turn it down. I really wanted to help Dr. Lynch with her work. I wanted to find new ways to help my secondary students too as they prepare to enter their own classrooms, which many of them will be doing very soon. I see some of y'all here tonight too. Do you want to? Yeah, I kept trying to get that to work. I don't know. Technology.
Okay, we'll try it.
It's great when it works, but sometimes it's a curse. All right. We do have some terms that we wanted to go over with you all tonight. Scholarly silo just means you're narrowly focused in on your home discipline. She's an anthropologist. I'm an educator. We kind of vary a little bit. Multidisciplinary is the knowledge from our different areas. And then interdisciplinary means that we're creating something new from multiple academic areas. And that is our eventual goal. What can I do as an educator to help her as an anthropologist? Well, thank you. Okay, this is just a map of the islands of the Bahamas. This is also called the Lucayan archipelago. There are over 20 islands. I want to say there's 26, 27. However, I taught French and English for 12 years and math is not my forte. There's over 600 keys and rocks. The capital is Nassau on the island of New Providence, but we were working on Grand Bahama in the north, which is only about 50 or 60 miles off the coast of Florida. Ooh. That's okay. You're good.
Cool. Oh, okay.
Thank you. Which button do I press?
Hurricane Dorian. Grand Bahama has seen many hurricanes and severe tropical storms, but Dorian seemed to become a focal point for Grand Bahamians since it occurred in September 2019. I was told on an air flight when I was heading down there that hurricanes are a fact of life. Everyone knows that they're going to happen. Everyone knows very well how to prepare for them. They're not a big deal, but Dorian was different. Dorian changed life. Dorian arrived with full hurricane strength, building into a Cat 5. When it stalled for a couple of days, that's 48 hours or more, over the two most northern islands, that's Abaco and Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama and Abaco both were faced with pounding, hurling winds, devastating flooding. Those that did not evacuate found themselves in a fight for survival just to make it one more day. And then they would be fighting for just basic resources. No one could have foreseen, and no one was really prepared.
I'm going to jump in real quick. One of the things that we noticed when we were touring Grand Bahama, not just the West End, but also the East End last summer, the devastation is still very, very real. The recovery efforts are still very much ongoing, but you have to admire their resiliency. So I just wanted to say that real quick. Let's go. Oh, yay, it worked.
It worked. Okay. All right, so here's an image of Grand Bahama and Abaco. Grand Bahama is this sort of little sideways S shape, and then Abaco is the island there on the eastern side. Freeport is the primary habitated area. It's a large population center, and it's in this area right here.
Okay.
However, oh, there's a pointer. However, you can see I'm in a classroom. I like to walk around a little bit. However, people live all the way across the island, all the way down to the East End and the West End in small villages and communities like Paradise Cove, which is one of our favorite spots to go. Okay, This next image was taken on September the 2nd, 2019. While areas of Freeport don't seem to be underwater here, and they indeed were not, they were still affected by the rains and by the winds, you can tell the bulk of the island, and particularly on the east side, is completely inundated with water. In fact, some areas were under at least 20 feet of water, and the highest point on the island is only 40 feet above sea level. So ocean flooding, and not only just the flooding itself, but the silt and the mud that comes in from the ocean floor took over many areas, devastating the mangroves that protect the coast and devastating the pine forests. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about science right now. Now remember, I'm an anthropologist and I learned all this from my hydrology buddies. Okay, so islands in the Bahamas generally get their fresh water from reservoirs that are created beneath the geological surface layers. And in the Bahamas in particular, there's a layer of salt water that sandwiches in that fresh water. When storm surges and flooding occur, that can cause inundation of salt water into the freshwater lens. So we're not only talking inundation on the land, we're talking inundation to the basic primary water supply. This is an idealized image, but that's exactly what happened in Grand Bahama. If you see this lower inundation here, the freshwater lens became the immediate thing that people need to focus on. However, humans are part of the management of that freshwater lens. They are part of the decision-making factors of what do we do? There's flooding, how do we fix this? Also, they're part of the every day-to-day, how much of this freshwater lens do we use? And so again, they needed an anthropologist to help understand that human factor. And Dr. Bowen O'Connor and I were in the field looking at the forests, and they pulled us in to talk about it and to work on it.
Okay. All right, well, these are images of the old campus of the University of the Bahamas North Campus before and after Dorian. One of our really good friends recounted how he actually spent most of the hurricane on the second floor trying to save the library. That's how much the Bahamians value education, that he was that concerned about the resources in the library. But he was there throughout the storm. The dorms were completely washed away by this Cat 5 hurricane. And these are just some more images after the water subsided. There's a lot of silt and mud and everything all over campus. This caused blockages in a lot of the drainage systems, and this is probably responsible for the prolonged soil saturation with all of that salt water that got into the freshwater lens. The quantities of mud were responsible for delays in the water recovery. GBUC, the utility company, actually just could not get the pumps operating quickly enough. I mean, they were trying. We all know they were trying, but they just couldn't do it quickly enough. And of course, since then, they've built up many alternative operations, adding a lot of reverse osmosis facilities and reorganizing the water pumping equipment. However, the other problem is that UB North was on the west end of the island, and most of the water pumps and well access points were on the eastern end of the island.
Okay, so after Hurricane Dorian occurred, there were folks on the ground looking at, okay, what are we going to do and how are we going to resolve problems? So the two key areas of focus for international researchers, that includes the plant scientists and the water people, were on two key islands, all of them you can see in the circled red area here. The Bahamas protected area, along with a couple of international agencies, came up with some targeted plant areas that they wanted to survey to see exactly how bad the plant and mangrove devastation was and how fast they're recuperating naturally. And they were also developing, I was part of this team, and we were also developing ways of getting people out into those areas to do planting out so that we could help speed up these very important resources. So on the very top, those are the plant areas that we were surveying that young Kaya was talking about. And then on the bottom here, you can see some highlighted areas. Those are where the primary wells are situated on the island. And so we would go out every day. This is an image of our forest recovery. We would work with, these are students and the forestry unit of Grand Bahama. So they're the primary regulatory agency in the Bahamas. And so they came out, we would do, we had research scientists. Everyone learned how to actually map a forest. I'd never done it before, so it's very similar to archaeology. We learned how to identify all the local plants, and we learned how to quantify the data. So we've been doing that for a while. And then while we were doing that, information, that's okay. These are some university students back in 2022. We were reviewing and recording plant information and collecting water samples and soil samples. And they noticed, because they're anthropologists, they're like, oh gosh, look at all this indiscriminate dumping that's going on here. And they posited that dumping was related to several factors, some very complicated human systems, but they thought two were the big ones. Number one, this is recovery from Hurricane Dorian, because there was massive destruction. And so people had to clean, they were in the process of cleaning, and so they would just create these large piles. These piles then are sitting in forested areas. There's glass, there's everything. The glass is being, it's problematic right now because the worst forest fires they've seen in a while are currently occurring on Grand Bahama, and that's because the glass is catching, dried plants on fire. So when they were there, they said, okay, so some of this is just natural recovery process, but they were also interested in maybe some of this indiscriminate dumping might be part of a resistance to some power structures on the island. They were really coming up with some grand theoretical ideas. And what they did was they talked to Nakira Wilshcombe, who's the head of the Grand Bahama Port Authority and one of our primary stakeholders, and they started collaborating with her and Keep Grand Bahama Clean, which is a nonprofit organization that tries to keep the area, they try to create community understanding of indiscriminate dumping. And these students have moved on to grad school now, and they're no longer involved with the project, but we are still collaborating very heavily with Grand Bahama Port Authority, and we have these ongoing projects that are looking into dumping.
Shameless plug for Grand Bahama Port Authority. They have the Keeping Grand Bahama Clean account on TikTok if you guys are interested in checking it out.
Good information.
It's pretty cool. I follow them. All right, so the picture on the left actually shows one of the fields where the pine tree seeds were planted. This spot on Grand Bahama is actually where the oil spilled, and those are the oil containers right there, where that spilled out during the hurricane. So the land was scraped of oil afterwards. UB professors came in, and they were in charge of the efforts to replant. So we did see some growth from some of the pine seedlings last summer, not as much as we would have wanted, but ever the optimist, we were excited that there was just a little bit of pine growth there. The picture on the right shows Dr. Lynch and me with some very big, bright smiles. After a day of collecting what's known as propagules or mango seeds. Mangroves are so strong and so prevalent around the island because they really help to protect the coast from surge waters and also coastal erosion. We were happy to help Gail Woon in this endeavor. She is the founder of the environmental organization Earth Care, and we were definitely put to work that day.
Gail puts us to work.
She puts us to work, but it's worth it.
Okay, so you can see by now that this is pretty organic. Things are happening in different spots, but the critical thing here is that we're talking with one another. So back in the day, when we were first doing plant recovery, remember I told you there were some scientists that were coming in from Florida, and they were looking at the water supply because they'd been invited down here. So what grew out of a couple of conversations at Fish Fry, and Fish Fry happens every Wednesday night at Tino Beach, and it's probably one of the best places to talk science. So we were down there talking, a bunch of hydrologists and plant scientists, an anthropologist, some anthropology students, and we were like, well, what would this project look like if we actually went for funding to train U.S. students? And the next thing you know, we're collaborating with the university, well, it was University of Wyoming at the time, but now it's Eastern New Mexico, with Oberlin College, Rutgers University, and Sac State. And we started to develop this idea, let's do a sociohydrology project and train U.S. students. So what's sociohydrology? So sociohydrology is this notion that human systems are totally tied to plant recovery and ecology and the water systems that support it. So we have this idea that this is such a complex dynamic that we really need to have a new kind of field. And there are sociohydrology projects out there, but ours is kind of unique, and people are asking us about it all the time. Okay. So we currently field a lot of different student teams in there. I have 2 students coming down this summer, and we have room for 3 more next summer from Eastern. And again, this is another way of looking at what we value as this NSF sociohydrology team. We argue that small island, and this is a small island, resilience is only going to be improved by examining that freshwater lens in the context of all those human systems and beliefs. And we believe that we need to get in touch with all of the major stakeholders on the island, whether they're municipal or whether they're small businesses, all of the decision makers within those structures, the scientists involved coming in from outside the country, the NGOs, as well as individuals and just the guy running the conch shell place on the beach. So we want to get everybody involved. Part of our research, and I would argue probably most of our research, has been and has always been focused on student training and building collaborative knowledge systems, not just with our students, but also with citizens living on island. And so we have a very strong citizen science team. Very many times when you think about citizen science, you think about just entering data in an app somewhere, and then other people analyze it. Our citizen science is collaborative and community driven from the bottom up. Okay.
All righty. Well, there were a lot of lessons and a lot of benefits that we took away from this project. The first being get outside your comfort zone and your content area. I taught French and English at the secondary level in Southwest Virginia for 12 years before I went back to Texas Tech, and now I'm here, thank goodness. And all of you know who said yes. Houston, was that you? Good job. Bonus points in class. I was very excited last year. My colleagues will tell you how I was running around from about this time last year until the time I left, running around all of Portales going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to the Bahamas. But I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I teach French and English. How am I supposed to help Dr. Lynch? How was I supposed to help Dr. Bowen Connor? And so I kind of had that moment of, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But getting outside my comfort zone, because my number one thing was also, how do I bring this back to campus? We met so many amazing people down in Grand Bahama. Nakira Wolshcombe, for one, she is one of the bigwigs at Grand Bahama Port Authority. She welcomed me in with open arms almost immediately. Latera Mullins, who is one of the instructors at UB North, also right now spearheading UB's collaboration with COIL. It's an international educational organization, and we're trying to work to get Eastern New Mexico involved right now as well. Mr. Marinard, who was our operations and security man, his stories from his time working with the Royal Bahamian Police Force, like, oh my gosh, I want to write a book on him. We had Dr. Andy Lang, who was a social worker professor at UB North, and then Gail Woon, who was also the Earth Care founder. However, we do need to take a minute talking about Gail, because that woman made the best homemade key lime pie I think I've ever had. Just
give it a second. Let's
my
talk
life.
About that key lime pie.
I miss it so much.
Oh my God, that's the best.
For those of you who have ever had Dr. Patron's cheesecake, it's on that level. That's how good it is. It is very good. Dr. Claire Bowen O'Connor from Trinidad and Tobago, she's an education professor there. I need to collaborate with her. Yeah. She is funny, we're in the same field, and why not? One of the things that we were thinking about too was thinking outside the box. For me, local and global literacies really came to mind. At Texas Tech, my focus was on language diversity and literacy studies. And so I took a class at Texas Tech about using local literacies, meaning the things that are local culturally to one particular area, and then global literacies. The example I'm going to use is greeting somebody politely across the world. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I'm a Southerner, so when I walk in and greet people, it's, hey, y'all, how's it going today? You can tell where I'm from immediately. In Grand Bahama, you say good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Well, that's just one example. I actually thought an awful lot about how I could model that for my students. And the reason being, we have so many student teachers and teacher residents who, when they go into their classrooms and they're getting this wonderful practice, they're going into areas that are unfamiliar to them. So they're learning new local literacy. So I wanted to try to bring that back and model that for our students. That last one, if you follow me on social media, you know that we played very, very hard as well. Dr. Montgomery made sure to tell Dr. Litt it was my job to make sure she had fun. I did it, I promise. I actually turned 40 while we were in Grand Bahama. So on my birthday, I got to eat conch sushi and I got to feed some sharks, and I was very excited about it. We visited Garden of the Groves, to all the vendors there. I'm actually wearing a couple of jewelry pieces from there. Also Port Lakaya. Paradise Cove was also an amazing spot for us to visit. It's very touristy, but we got to see the sea turtle swimming around. That was awesome. I would like to also mention at the fish fry, Dr. Lynch also showed off her amazing line dancing skills. I just want to say, she did an amazing job
Don't tell
there.
Brian. He thinks I can't dance.
You can dance. You can actually dance.
That's my only hope of passing that class.
You can dance. We actually did learn some lessons. And the way that we wanted to phrase this was that there are parts of research projects sometimes that just suck, unfortunately. For example, the day that we collected the propagules, I actually became very overheated, very dehydrated. That was when I learned that coconut water is great for rehydration. And thank God the Portales Walmart sells exactly what I need. I was also dirty, sweaty, filthy. So in the literal aspect, it really was very deeply unpleasant. And our students, obviously from the video, learned the same thing. You got to put in the hard work and sweat a little bit sometimes with research. In terms of global environments, this was the first time I'd been outside the country in almost 20 years. So I was really excited to join this project. I learned that research, no matter where you are in the world, is not always going to go as quickly as you'd like. Some things are not always going to happen the way you would like for it to happen, and you just got to deal with it. It just happens. And Dr. Lynch, I'm going to let you talk about the parachute research and science.
So one of the things that I do want to make sure that everybody walks away with is we're a bunch of U.S. citizens going down and working in another country. And one of the things that we've always made part of our hallmark, primarily because of Dr. Bowen O'Connor, is that this is a collaborative knowledge effort. And so all of our partners on the ground are Bahamians, and every effort that we get to do things are driven by Bahamians and what they want and what they need. And so what most of my time is spent doing is making sure that that knowledge doesn't just come out of the Bahamas and come back to the United States, but that the knowledge that we're gaining or the experiences that are gaining are influencing and are filtered back in to enrichment for the local communities. So we spend a lot of time ensuring that all of our data sources and all of our permits and everything that could possibly be what's called a parachute, you run in, you grab it, and you leave, is not there. That is, for some of us, a really tough thing to do because we're working with scientists where that's the norm. But in community-based engaged science that's really driven from the ground up, it's kind of the opposite. We have to sort of, everybody's going to get, their articles, but at the end of the day, it's really about creating communities that are resilient in the long term. And those communities know what they need. It's our jobs as scientists to listen to it. Sometimes that's very hard to do.
All right. All right. We're also thinking about what this means for U.S. colleges and schools. The first one, with global programs being so critical for students, Dr. Lynch and I are also both very fluent French speakers. Like I said, I taught French at the secondary level for 12 years. We're huge proponents of getting outside your comfort zone and leaving home to learn as much as you can about whatever your chosen topic is. There actually is a world outside of the United States. We need to go and explore it. The other two are also extremely important to us because we believe that scholarly silo starts at home. R1 institutions do not have the corner on quality research. I'm not standing up here and saying this, I promise, because I really like my job and because I want to stay here forever and because I want to impress all of you in the room. I'm saying this because I mean it. We've discussed this at length. We've had more experiences here in 2 years than we ever had in an R1 institution. We're supported. We're cared for, we're nurtured, and to date, neither one of us has yet been told no, and we kind of hope that continues. That's okay too. We like that. We really like that. We are very, very fortunate to be here at Eastern New Mexico. This is not something that Dr. Lynch and I take for granted. And this is a list of people that we need to thank. My apologies for the screen formatting. I was messing with it earlier. Thank you again to all of you for coming to listen to us tonight. We really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer. So thank you so very much.
extend them.
Did we?
Yes.
What are some of your future directives moving forward?
Ooh.
Did you?
Future directive for our students.
Directives for our students. Who's that, Jamie? Okay, Jamie, by directives, I'm going to take that to mean that advice that I give to students.
Goals, objectives,
For the students? Oh, for the Bahamian project or for general students? Okay, so right now we're working on fielding a team to go down from the United States into the Bahamas to actually continue our socio-hydrology project. So we're actually collaborating because, all right, Jamie brought this up and she didn't know it. We're really not 100% sure what's going to happen with that NSF. We've been told to keep going forward and that everything is golden, and that just keep going. We're also having permitting issues because the Bahamas has a large permitting data, what would you call it, app? It's not even an app, it's a program that you have to apply to, and they're not, anyway, long story short, it went down for 2 weeks. And so we've had to call in people and make sure that our permits are getting reviewed. We told Mr. Marinard this, and we're like, we don't know if we're coming down, and Mr. Marinard said, let me make a few phone calls. And so who knows what's gonna happen. But what we're doing as a backup plan to get our students into the field is that we're working with the University of the Bahamas, and this is all very tentative. All of you guys that make these decisions are probably going to be seeing an MOU in about a week or so. We are working with them to actually have our students join the UB. It's a small Island Sustainability class, SIS, 390 field methods class, so that they will be able to do at least a few weeks of field work. But this time, so right now, our project is driven on the ground by at least 7 Bahamian scholars. They're doing all the work and not getting paid for it. It's their thing. So they're directing us in many ways. The academics on this side, we go down and we direct multiple different areas to add our expertise, but it's really driven by our Bahamian colleagues on the ground. So we are very grateful for them. And so in this instance, this is their university class. We would actually be supporting that, perhaps with, well, we haven't figured out the details of it, but we're hoping that that's going to be the operative, is that our students will actually be embedded in a class with Bahamian students. And they learn so much more when that happens. They do get in a little bit more trouble, but that's another story. Yeah, there was an issue with the boat at a concert, and that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, gosh.
Thank you, Jamie. Did I answer your question? Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Yes.
Can you tell us more about how you get the community involved in the water issues?
Can you tell us more about how you get the community involved in the water issues? Well, this
tourism.
Yeah, so one of the things in Grand Bahama that Western scientists don't know, so I'm working with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, with Nakira Wilshcombe and several others, to sort of bust this myth out there. We always think, oh, we've got the answer, and we sort of come in and say, hey, we got the answer, let's tell you how to do it, let's do the research, here's the money. But in reality, what we ought to be doing is saying, Ms. Wilshcombe and Mr. Marinard, what do you guys need? We have this grant money, and we would love to come down here and help you guys solve whatever problems you have. So they have a lot of different NGOs. There are mom and pop backyard nurseries that have been popping up. So there's this really connected or interconnected community of people. It's so interconnected that when you make a mistake, which we've made, everybody knows about it, and you have to live with it. So for instance, we've been doing planting outs to try to stabilize the soil and grow plants, but nobody goes back to water them. So guess what happens to those plants? It's labor intensive to plant. And when I was down there on the Fulbright last summer, I was on a planting out, hours, hot sun, heat, no food. It was horrible. Nobody was going out to plant. I was like, I'm here. I'll go out. I'll plant. I'll take the water from my house. I'll water. Nobody went out to plant. And finally, in about 3 weeks, of course, there was no rain. And about 2 plants out of 150 plants had survived. And so I was like, okay, so as the anthropologist, I'm like, okay, we've got a communication issue here, because now the entire community knows about it. And what they say is, I'm not going to go out with those guys and plant out anymore because they're not going to water the plants, right? So, so a lot of initiatives already locally that we're part of. And what we do then is if we're doing something on the ground, and we can invite people, then we let everybody know. And WhatsApp in the Bahamas is the de facto way of communicating, not telephone, not email, nothing. Everybody has their WhatsApp group. Everybody communicates via WhatsApp. It's an amazing tool. So you get the word out really quickly. But there are a number of water, just kind of like pop-ups of water conservation things. People know what they're doing,
They do.
right?
They do.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes.
You said this was a multi-disciplinary project, is that the word? What was the challenge of trying to, step into a field that you really weren't too aware of, and how did you learn to work well and get this?
That's a great question. Do you want to take a stab at
Yeah,
it?
sure, I can. Well, I've been on this project for less than a year. And again, I taught French and English. I'm in secondary education. I'm going into socio-hydrology, which I cannot say 5 times fast, so nobody ask me to do that. And also trying to hammer down a good definition of that too. So what Dr. Lynch allowed me to do last summer, which was awesome, I was able to tag along with meetings at Grand Bahama Port Authority when we met Ms. Wilshcombe. We had a meeting with the Ministry of Tourism where I got to sit down. It was a lot. I know those of you who know me well know that it is difficult for me to stop talking from time to time. It was a lot of me just keeping my mouth quiet and just listening and taking notes and learning and writing a lot of things down. And I walked away after a month with just this broad knowledge base of what was going on. And also just not being afraid to go down there to begin with, really. Yes, I was very excited because I was like, yes, the Bahamas, get to go to the beach every day. It's going to be awesome. But I was also going into another country, another culture, another place I'd never been. So it was a lot of just me smiling and learning, really. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. Mm-hmm.
So on that note, though, coming in as an anthropologist with a plant scientist, even though she was a great friend, was hard because she's like, this is how we do it.
Yep.
I thought archaeologists worked long hours, and I'm telling you right now, agronomists and plant scientists work at least with Dr. Bowen O'Connor, they work incredibly long hours.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I was conditioned by archaeology. But it was easier to talk to her about the methods because we were very similar, because we're very field oriented. The hydrologist is a little different. Dr. Bowen O'Connor seemed to understand more about anthropology, so it was easier to talk. But the hydrologist, we have spent a lot of time trying to find a common vocabulary, a common way of talking to where we're on the same page. And I'm always a little shocked when my Rutgers colleague says, okay, I need you to send me some notes because I'm going to this hydrological engineering conference and whatever, and I need to be able to talk about what we're doing. I'm not 100% sure what you do. And they know what I'm doing because I'm always there, but the anthropology is a little softer, and we're not out collecting samples and then going in a lab, not all the time. We're actually talking to people and creating relationships. And I think one of the hardest thing, because remember, part of this partnership are our local people, the people that have welcomed us into the community, have been so welcoming.
My gosh, yes.
Part of the thing is that it took us years to create the level of trust where people would actually talk to you, because we tell them we're anthropologists, so we're interested in everything, and we want to write down what you tell us, and we want to do surveys, and we want to do this, and you have to have some trust to get people to really want to tell you that. And then communicating that with, I'm going to use this term, I hate it, the hard sciences, is sometimes, we all just have to be a little patient. But we see kind of things holistically on the anthropology side, and I think also coming from your field. And then the hydrologists are a little bit more segmented. So I think we were lucky with Dr. Bowen O'Connor because she thinks a little bit more in both worlds. So I think she might actually be the catalyst. Thank you, Dr. Bowen O'Connor.
Seriously. Kyle, did we get your question?
Did we get to it?
Cool. Awesome. Okay.
I think the take home is, if you got a chance to hop on that project, hop on that project. put your fear aside and hop on that project, and you'll find a way. And as Dr. Stewart said, you just got to listen, take your little notebook, and you're going to learn a lot. And even if they do things different, then if you've never seen something the way they're doing it, you can learn to do something differently. It trains you to think differently. The critical thinking skills that students develop just by having to step out of their box is amazing. So, yeah.
More details? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the important stuff.
Now the really important
stuff.
All right. Let me get my USB.
Okay. Didn't embarrass you.
Is that my extra copy? I want some more coffee. Yes. You said it's
Okay, now we're going to get some part.
Thank you.
So, the way it's going to work, I'm going to call the winner's name from each category and then come up and grab your folder. There's some paperwork inside you need to fill out in order to claim your award. And I believe there's pens available in the lobby. So don't leave tonight without turning in your paperwork. Okay, so these are for the morning session that happened here in the ballroom. Our display of creative works, George Munoz. Okay, I'm trying my best with the names. Bear with me. Okay, poetry display, Cecily Cookendale. Come on up. Okay, culinary art confectionery display, group 1, Emily Flores Rojas. Confectionery display, Naomi Pino. Anthropology graduate level, Caitlin Stressman.
Can I take Emily's to go to?
Anthropology undergraduate level, Ubitsi Trong. Agriculture, Mackenzie Drake.
Oh, I'm good. No, I'm good for now. Thank you. Yeah. I'm good.
Biology graduate level, Courage Mawaku. Microbiology graduate level, Ida Mama. Biology, Kevin Green. Biology and Environmental Science undergraduate, Justin Medina. Chemistry, graduate level, Matthew Ogby. Forensic Science, Forensic Anthropology, Group 1, Harley Gardner. Forensic Science, Forensic Anthropology, Samantha Schrader. History, Aiden Terry. Research and data analysis across disciplines, Paula Pereira. And psychology, Chase Frazier and Desiree Sandoval.
All right, from the paper sessions, American Language and Culture, Session 1, Karina Wentworth. American Language and Culture, Session 2, Thomas Ertz. I'm sorry if I said that. Graduate Anthropology, Emily Cole. Cultural Anthropology, number 1, undergrad. We have a two-way tie, Allison Davis and Sapphira Laughter. Cultural Anthropology, undergrad, number 2, Kyle Montgomery. Biology and Chemistry, graduate level, Sebastian Sumo Elias. Business and Finance, Ashley Ortega. Give them a chance to get caught up here. Communications and Communicative Disorders, Candace Jimenez and Aaron Betterly. Biological and Forensic Anthropology, undergraduate, Emma Johnson. In history, we have a two-way tie, Christina Davis and Jacob Watts. Computer Science and Engineering, Jacob Chavez. Digital Film and Theater, Jason Jimenez. Media and Literature Analysis, Madeline Ferguson. Psychology, Session 1, Arlie Ledesma. Psychology number 2, Nikita Murphy. Psychology number 3, Jennifer Smith. Psychology number 4, Trinity Torres. Sociology number 1, Adam Aguirre. Sociology 2, Leilani Bradley. And last but not least, Sociology 3, Alexis Brandsma. All right, thank you everyone. That's all of our awards. Remember to fill out your certificate so that you can get your money, and there are pens out in the lobby if you need them.
Okay, hang on 1 second, we're not quite done.
All right, not yet. Can't leave yet. Something this large, something this comprehensive does not happen by one person. I'm John Montgomery. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Research. I'm also serving as the Graduate Dean, and I still dabble in anthropology. So this has been a great evening for me. But I also want to thank all those who made this really happen. We have over here our honored guest, basically, the administration at East and New Mexico University, and I want to just thank them all, Dr. James Johnson, the president, chancellor, and chancellor of the system, and Stephanie. We thank you for being here. My boss, my direct boss, Dr. Jamie Lorenz, who makes this happen, and Marietta, and Tony Major. Finance, money, things like this have to have money, and Janine. So really thank you took the time to come out, and we hope that you enjoyed the program. Now, in terms of planning, this doesn't happen alone either. And I want to thank the faculty group who meets all year long to make this actually happen. Dr. Starr, who was unable to be here tonight, leads that group with Dr. Robinson, Dr. Haney, Dr. Adito, Dr. Yan, Dr. Ayala, and Rena Ernest. We represent all it doesn't happen alone. All this happening here requires a lot of coordination. Adam Aragon, right over here, is filming all of this so that it will go out and be broadcast for everyone to see who was not able to be here. And remember, some of these individuals who got awarded, they're online students. They participated at a distance in this activity, which I think is really great. The John Hauser and Comm Services helped us with our basic communication and marketing, but more importantly, marketing from Dr. Haney really made this happen because this is one of the largest groups on a banquet that we have ever had. And that resonates greatly for this institution. Ray Koss helped us get the whole room together. And we have basically, during this day, we have the entire student union almost to ourselves to do this. Just think about that. This is an entire university activity with all colleges, graduate and undergraduate. It's pretty unprecedented. I had experience like that as a student myself. So I'm very proud to be able to have this happen. The food, Sodexo, thanks to Maddie and Dr. Haney for helping plan it. And basically, there are other activities that happened today. We had the director of New Mexico AMP from New Mexico State, Dr. Ruby Estrada, who gave a workshop during lunch. It was well attended. And we thank Brian Pasco, our representative to New Mexico AMP, for inviting her and bringing her here. All in all, this has been a great, fantastic day. It started off with rain, started off with water, and ended up with all of us being able to celebrate our student success and the faculty who helped them get to that success, as well as their colleagues. That is the essence of what a university is, and I want to thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you. That concludes the 2025 Research Conference Student Research and Creativity Conference. Thank you very much for coming, and congratulations to all the winners and all of you for participating.